Okay, go.
Okay, in the topic, I agree with the statement. Confucian culture inhibits innovation. The basis of Confucian culture is obedience to superiors. The negative characteristics of Korean corporate culture, I think, include unnecessary overtime, meetings where only leaders speak, and unclear work instructions. In particular, it is considered a social disrespect for subordinate to make a different opinion in front of the boss. So these are all authoritarian issues that stem from Confucianism. So I will give you an example in case of the LG group, the one of Korean Japan group, which has the most Confucian family business culture in Korea. Foreign working level officers who were reformist were always excluded from group meetings centered on the Gu family, the Chaebol Gu family, his son or his grandson Gu family. They insisted on switching from conventional feature old phone to new smartphone, but their opinions could not be easily communicated to the owner Gu family. In the end, LG Electronics lagged behind the innovation of smartphones, and now there isn't any LG smartphone right now. And also, I will give another example. I experienced the military experience, and obedience is only duty, and every human right problems and every military problems there isn't any solution. The leaders only try to hide every problems. So I think Confucian cultures are really harmful to Korean society.
Is it true LG doesn't have a smartphone?
Stopped.
It did.
Yeah,
they gave up.
Yeah, they gave up.
Wow. I mean, I had an LG smartphone, one of my first smartphones in the US. So they left. They couldn't compete.
Yes.
Wow.
They gave up.
Yeah. But why did Samsung succeed? I mean, how come Samsung's Korean? Why is it able to? What's the difference between LG and Samsung? I mean, they're both Confucian.
Because Samsung, right after Apple's success, Samsung success to follow up strategy. Because they listened the worldwide foreign executives' opinion and Lee family, listened and they did, but Good family didn't listen.
Yeah. I mean, in the United States, everybody knows about Samsung television screens. So they know about Samsung electronics. LG, I don't know. I mean, this is why you do case studies. Case study is a qualitative research approach, and Harvard Business School is well known for its case studies. So they need to do a case study. Maybe they have on LG and why it gave up on the smartphone industry. Okay, Kritika, come on up, Kritika. You're Khan, so you get to read your Khan statement.
For me, I think it's hard to say that Confucian culture is responsible for South Korea becoming such an innovative country. So there are various aspects that the country, its government, and citizens have adopted throughout the decades that shaped South Korea into the country it is today. And those things include processes like industrialization and globalization. And according to the book, combining differences is a vital part of innovation, and industrialization is about the process of, it happens to the process of transforming the economy through manufacturing of goods instead of agriculture. So it's understanding the differences of how much of an impact manufacturing can help the economy of a country. And globalization is the exchanging process of trade and culture, and it's about understanding the different beliefs, behaviors, and actions a group of people have been taught or programmed to do that differ from our own, with the intention to create more diverse and universal way of thinking and interacting. And I think all these things are responsible for innovation. It's the result of combining differences of old and new, of something familiar and something foreign together.
Okay, and Miss Moon, come on up and make your pro statement. And you might have to stay up here because you're the only con person, so you have to respond to everybody. Come on up.
Sorry, because we're talking about how
Okay. So that's, I mean, Kritika pretty much highlighted it, right? That Trump and I have been trying to say it's the reconciliation of different cultures that produces innovation. Question, of course, the subtext that comes up in this implicit is that is South Korea particularly successful along with Taiwan because, you know, as I said at the beginning of the semester, there are 3 standard textbooks that you use in teaching about strategic management of cultural differences. The Trump and Hampton Turner one is one of the popular ones. Another one is by Hofstede, and the third one is by Lewis. All 3 of these books claim that South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Singapore are hybrid. They're outliers. And of course, all 4 of these countries, the so-called Asian tigers, have been a fusion, they claim, of Anglo-Saxon and Confucian cultures. That somehow they have been exceptionally successful in being forced to deal with this integration process, which has often been very violent, nasty. Like what happened under American hegemony here, and the case of how Taiwan was established and so on. So, of course, it's not that Confucian culture is a post-innovation, but keep that in mind. I mean, I remember when I was in graduate school, I was taught, somebody told me that in the literature that came out after World War II, the expectation was that China and these other countries would never develop because Confucian culture is an obstacle to innovation because it's passive. And of course, then we see that that's not the case. So, Kritika, you have the last word for Khan. Oh, yes, Khan, go ahead.
I think maybe Confucian culture might like start off the innovation in South Korea, but there are other factors, like I said, and I think I learned this from another class where after the Korean War, South Korean economy was pretty much non-existent, so they had to ask, or like the Americans had to help and like pitch in the 5-year economic plan, and that helped them like set off their economy right now. So I think it helps like with in terms of economy, like globalization and kind of reconciling cultural differences between different countries help with innovation.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the subtext or the implication of this is that is China going to be another Asian tiger? But it's not a democracy. It's an authoritarian system that tries to limit information. How can that be as successful in carrying out innovation in that kind of system in which there's an increasingly authoritarian one-party state that censors the internet, that monitors what people say? Can that carry out or repeat on a much larger scale the success of South Korea and Taiwan and in the Chinese case? And so I'm not so certain that Trump and Hampton Turner are necessarily, right. China's doing pretty well, but even though this issue of reconciliation of cultural differences isn't something that really the Chinese Communist Party really wants to encourage, it seems, within Chinese society regarding external cultural influences. So, okay, so I think that is about it for today, and I think I can't think of, as I go try to open up my notes here, that yeah, well, and of course you see here in the European Union that the European authorities are encouraging oil companies to get out of oil. So Shell is the biggest oil company in the European Union. It's becoming an electricity company, and so that's its vision. But it's in that vision, Shell is is supported by the European Union authorities. So, of course, I have a bias in my perspective because I'm a political science professor, so I'm always interested in the state and policy, but that seems to be critically important in terms of the success in carrying out these changes. Yeah, Shell is selling off its oil and gas deposits in North America, selling them to Texans as Shell goes all in on shifting to being a green energy company, the biggest oil and gas company in Europe. Okay, thank you.